Ah, okay. We are on lesson number 6 and it's all about factorizing. This is part number 1, so it should be nice and simple. Now, looking at the first one, you would have met things like this already at GCSE, so let's whiz through it. Now, we need to look for a common factor between the 4x and the 12. So common factors we've got are going to be 1, 2, and 4. But we're looking for the highest common factor. That's what we take outside of our bracket. So that's going to be a 4. So take that on the outside of our bracket and then work out what's left inside. How do you work out what's left inside? Well, just take each of these terms and divide it by 4 because you took 4 outside. So 4x divided by 4 is just x, and then 12 divided by 4 is 3. Done. And how do you check your answer? You can expand it out. So 4 times by x is 4x, 4 times by 3 is 12. And there you go. We've got 4x plus 12. Now let's do the same with the next one. What's common between x squared and minus 10x? Well, the common factor there is just x. So we'll take that on the outside. And then how do you work out what's left on the inside? Well, just take this and divide it by whatever is on the outside. So x squared divided by x is just x. And then minus 10x divided by x is just minus 10. Done. Simple. How can you check it? Expand it again and check it's right. So you could do x times x is x squared, x times minus 10 minus 10x. Next one, same thing, except we've got some numbers, so the 4 and the 6, and we've got some powers there on our x's. So we'll need to look for common factors between the numbers and then between the powers there of x. So common factors of the 4 and the 6, 1 and 2. 2 is going to be the greatest one, so I'm going to take 2 outside. And now let's look at the x's there. You've got x cubed and x squared. What's the greatest common factor between those? That's going to be just x squared. So that's what's going on the outside of our bracket. Now to figure out what goes on the inside. So we can do 4x cubed divided by 2x squared to find out what goes in here. That's going to be 2x. Then we can do minus 6x squared divided by 2x squared. That's just going to give me minus 3. Done. How do you check it? Just expand it out again and make sure that it actually works. So 2x squared times by 2x, that would be 4x cubed. And then 2x squared times by minus 3 is minus 6x squared. Done. So you know it's correct. Okay, next one. This time we just got 2 letters involved. We've got x and y. But first we'll start with the numbers, right? So you've got 12 and we've got 20. So what's the highest factor of 12 and 20? That's going to be 4. So let's take a 4 outside the bracket. Now let's focus on the x's where we've got x squared and x. So the greatest factor there between those is just x. And then we'll focus on the y's. So we've got y and y squared. Obviously the greatest factor between y and y squared is just y. Now we can open our bracket and figure out what goes on the inside. So to find out what's going in here, we'll do 12x squared y divided by 4xy. What's that going to give me? Well, 12 divided by 4 is 3, x squared divided by x is x, y divided by y, 1. So leave that. And then we'll do the same with the next part. So minus 20xy squared divided by 4xy. 20 divided by 4 is 5, x divided by x is 1, and then y squared divided by y is just y. Done. How can you check it? Go and expand it out again. I'm not going to do it though. Okay, now this little bit more tricky. Can you see we've got a bracket here? We've got x plus 2 in a bracket. We've then got plus 4 and then x plus 2 again in a bracket squared. So what you've got to understand is you can factorize whole brackets out of things as well. So this is pretty much the same as writing x plus 2 here and another x plus 2 because it's squared, right? So you can write the bracket out twice. And now what you can see is, well, we've got an x plus 2 here and an x plus 2 here. So we can actually factorize that whole bracket out of this expression. So what I'm going to do is open up some square brackets like this, and I'm going to take the x plus 2 on the outside. Let me just color that in blue as well. There we go. So that's what I'm taking on the outside. Now what I'm going to do is figure out what is left on the inside now. Well, over here, I used to have an x plus 2. I took x plus 2 on the outside. So how do I work out what's left? I do x plus 2 divided by x plus 2. So it's just 1. Plus, and then what do we have here? Well, we had 4, x plus 2, x plus 2. So what do? Just divide it by what's on the outside, which is an x plus 2. So what's going to be left will be 4 and then x plus 2. And there we go. So you can see that there in the 4 left hand side. And now what we can do is just neaten up the inside. So x plus 2, and then we'll have 4 plus, expand that out, 4x plus 8, and then x plus 2, and then we've got 1 plus 8 there, so we'll say 9 plus 4x. Done. And the next one, very, very similar. So again, we've got this bracket that we can factorize out. See, we've got that x minus 3, and there we've got x minus 3 squared. So what I'll do is I'll quickly rewrite this, right? So this is the same as saying 2y cubed, and then x minus 3, plus 10y, and then x minus 3, and another x minus 3. So you can see there that the bracket in common is the x minus 3. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that outside of my square bracket for sure. So let's put an x minus 3 there. But then we've got to remember that we've got other things involved as well, like we've got a 2 and a 10. So what's the greatest factor between this 2 and 10? Well, it's going to be 2. So we also need to take a 2 on the outside. And then we've also got some letters. We've got y cubed and y. So what's the greatest factor there between those two? It's just going to be a y. So we can take that outside as well. Now let's work out what is left over. Now for the first lot of terms here, what are we going to have? We're just going to have a y squared plus, and then 10 divided by 2, well, that's 5. And then we're going to have an x minus 3 like that there. Again, how can you double check it? Just go back and expand it through and make sure that it is actually correct. And you get back to what you started with. Now let's neaten this up a little bit. So 2y, x minus 3. And then in here we'll have, well, y squared plus 5x minus 15. That is it. I don't think you can really factorize that down anymore. So done. Okay. And here's a couple now for you to practice. So pause the video, have a quick go, and we'll catch up in a few seconds to go through the answers. Righto, it is solution time, so let's get going. Now, the first one then, you've got 6 and 14. So the common factor there is probably going to be 2, the greatest common factor. And then you've got x to the 5, x to the 4, so you can definitely take out x to the 4. And then y squared and y, so the most you can take out there is y. Now what's going to be left in our brackets here? Well, we'll have a 3, we'll have an x and a y, and then we'll have a 7, and that's it. There we go, done. So that's the first one. And the next one, we're going to factorize the whole bracket out. So we'll have 3x plus 5, and then open a big square bracket, 1 minus 7, 3x plus 5, close that bracket off there, and then maybe you can just expand that out, just simplify it a little bit, so that there, and then 1 minus 21x minus 35, and then if we neaten that up one more time, we'll have 3x plus 5, and then what have we got here? 1 minus 35, so we've got minus 34 minus 21x. There we go. Done. And we can leave it like that. So, hopefully you got all of those correct, and that should have been a nice quick reminder of factorising. Just a few there which are a little bit more tricky than you met at GCSE, but not too difficult. So, keep practicing your maths. There's more factorising coming. We've got some quadratics coming next. So stay tuned for that.